The sun was hot, the street was noisy, and I was standing in front of a small barbershop with a faded red-white-blue pole spinning outside. No appointment, no price list, no fancy glass door. Just a handwritten sign that said, "Haircut 100. I hesitated for a second. In Korea, I usually book online, walk into an air-conditioned salon, and get my hair washed before the cut. Here, it was different. I took a deep breath and walked in. "Hi, sir. Haircut?" the barber asked immediately with a big smile. I nodded, sat down on a wooden chair, and realized this wasn't a salon. It was a social space. 3 men were chatting loudly about basketball, a kid was watching YouTube on a phone, and an electric fan was working hard in the corner. It felt warm, not just from the weather, but from the energy. The barber put a thin cape around me and grabbed scissors without asking many questions. In Korea, the stylist usually asks, "How many centimeters off?" Or, "Do you want layers?" Here, it was just short, medium, or fade. I said, "Medium," and he smiled. "Okay, Korean style." He started cutting right away fast, confident, no hesitation. As he worked, people kept joining the conversation. Someone asked me where I was from. When I said Korea, they all laughed. "Ah, K-drama hair." Even the barber joined in. "You want BTS cut?" Everyone laughed, including me. It wasn't awkward, it was fun. The place had only one mirror, slightly scratched, and music from a small speaker in the corner. No air freshener scent, no silence, no rush. Just people, voices, and community. And for a moment, I forgot. I was getting a haircut. It felt more like hanging out with neighbors. In Korea, haircuts are quick and precise. Here, it was relaxed and human. When he finished, he brushed my neck, gently handed me a small mirror, and said, "Okay now, sir?" I looked clean, simple, good. "And the price?" "120, including the tip. About 3,001. As I stepped outside, I realized I'd just experienced more than a haircut. It was my first real moment of being part of everyday Filipino life. Spontaneous, friendly, and full of warmth. The moment the haircut started, I could tell this was nothing like what I was used to in Korea. No shampoo, no head massage, no fancy cape, just a quick sit, relax, and trust me. And somehow it worked. The barber's hands moved fast. He didn't measure or section the hair like stylists in Seoul. He just knew where to cut. Snip, 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 clean, confident, and rhythmic. Almost like he'd done this 1,000 times. And maybe he had. What really surprised me was how social the whole experience was. In Korea, salons are quiet. People scroll on their phones, stylists speak softly, and there's background music you barely notice. Here, it was the opposite. Everyone was talking about politics, basketball, family, and even me. "Sir, you look like K-drama actor," one of them shouted. Another said, "Don't worry, we'll give you a Korean fade." Even people not cutting hair joined in the fun. It felt like a small community inside 4 walls. The barber would stop mid-cut to greet a friend passing by, then return to my hair like nothing happened. At first I thought, wow, so casual. But after a while I realized this was normal. Here, business isn't just about speed, it's about connection. Customers aren't treated as transactions, they're treated as people. He used old tools, a metal comb, clippers that buzzed loudly, and a small brush to clear the hair. No product upsell, no designer scissors, no mirror lights. Just skill, confidence, and good humor. Halfway through, he turned the chair so I could face the mirror. "How's it going, sir?" I said. "Looks good." And he smiled proudly. "Of course." Filipino hands. That line made me laugh, but it also said a lot. There's pride in their craft, even in small things. When the haircut ended, he handed me a small towel to wipe my neck. No fancy blow dryer, no gel styling, just a clean cut. Then he shook my hand and said, "Thank you. Come back next month." No business card, no loyalty app, just sincerity. As I stepped out, I looked back. The same laughter continued inside, a mix of chatter and clippers buzzing. It wasn't perfect or polished, but it was human. And I thought, maybe this is what service really means here. Not perfection, but presence. Halfway through the cut, I realized I wasn't just getting a haircut. I was getting a conversation, an experience, a story. The barber kept talking while trimming my sides. Not small talk, real talk. "Sir, in Korea, haircut expensive?" I said, "Yes, usually around 20,000 won." He stopped for a second, raised his eyebrows, and laughed. "Here, that's 1 week of haircuts for the whole street." Everyone laughed, and suddenly I was part of the group, not just the foreigner in the chair. That's the thing in the Philippines. Service isn't cold or distant. It's personal. People want to know you, talk to you, connect with you. The barber wasn't just doing his job. He was building a small friendship in 30 minutes. He told me he's been cutting hair since he was 16. No formal training, just practice, patience, and passion. He said, "If you love what you do, customers feel it." That line stayed with me, because in Korea, many people chase efficiency and perfection. Here, it's heart and connection. At one point, a little boy came in, maybe 8 years old. The barber paused my haircut, smiled, and said, "You first, he's a regular." The boy jumped into the chair like it was his playground. The barber gave him a high five and started cutting while humming a song. It was such a simple moment, but I couldn't stop smiling. You could tell this wasn't just business, it was family. When it was my turn again, he said, "You see, haircut is not only haircut. It's time to talk, to relax, to smile." He wasn't wrong. In that small room, surrounded by laughter, I forgot about schedules, deadlines, and structure. Time moved differently, slower but fuller. By the time he finished, the room had changed again. New people came in, old ones left, but the same warmth stayed. He dusted off my neck, handed me a mirror, and said, "There, you look good now, Korean actor." Everyone laughed again, and honestly, I kind of felt like one for a second. I paid 120, thanked him, and added a small tip. He looked genuinely happy, not because of the money, but because I appreciated the effort. And I realized this is what makes Filipino service special. It's not about what you pay. It's about how you connect. As I walked out, I thought in Korea, I go to get my hair cut. In the Philippines, I go to feel human. When the haircut was done, the barber brushed off the last bits of hair from my shoulders and held up a small mirror. "Okay, sir, what do you think?" I looked clean fade, simple cut, nothing fancy. But it felt good. I said, "Perfect." And he smiled. "That's Filipino quality, sir." Then came the best part, the price. 100 for the haircut, 20 tip. That's around 3,001 total. In Korea, I'd pay 20,001 or more for the same service. At first I thought, wow, that's cheap. But after thinking for a moment, I realized it's not about being cheap. It's about what you get for that money. In Korea, you get professionalism, clean interiors, exact cuts, precise tools. Here, you get warmth, laughter, conversation, and connection. The difference isn't in the scissors. It's in the spirit. While paying, I noticed how everyone around me smiled, not because of money, but because they enjoyed being there. Customers weren't rushing to leave. Some stayed just to talk, even after their haircut was done. That's when it hit me, this place isn't just a barbershop. It's a mini community center. I asked the barber, "Do you ever get tired?" He laughed. "Yes, but I like it. Every head has a story." That line stuck with me. Every customer wasn't just another haircut, they were a part of his daily rhythm, part of his world. In Korea, we often think time is money. Here, time is relationship. That's why even a simple service feels meaningful. As I stepped outside, the air felt different. The sound of tricycles, the smell of street food, the warmth of people saying goodbye, everything felt alive. It wasn't just the haircut that changed how I looked. It was the experience that changed how I felt. That 120 haircut reminded me that value isn't only about cost. It's about connection, sincerity, and the small human moments that money can't buy. And honestly, that's worth far more than any salon in Seoul could offer. When I looked in the mirror one last time, I realized this story wasn't really about the haircut. It was about what it showed me how people in the Philippines value connection more than perfection. In Korea, I'm used to clean salons, exact appointments, and quiet service. It's fast, efficient, and professional, but sometimes it feels distant. Here it was the opposite. Everything was loud, warm, and full of energy. Even if the haircut wasn't flawless, the experience was. I thought about how something as small as getting a haircut could reflect an entire culture. In the Philippines, people slow down and talk to each other. They make time even during work. And that's something I rarely see in Korea, where speed often means success. That barber didn't just give me a haircut, he gave me 30 minutes of laughter, conversation, and community. He reminded me that good service isn't about expensive chairs or imported scissors. It's about sincerity. It's about making someone feel seen. As I walked home through the noisy streets, the smell of barbecue and diesel in the air, I couldn't stop smiling. Because in that tiny barbershop, I didn't just learn about Filipino service, I learned about people. People who find happiness in small moments, who turn work into friendship, who treat strangers like neighbors. When I think back now, that 100 haircut taught me more about the Philippines than any travel guide could. It wasn't about style, it was about soul. And maybe that's what makes this country so special. Everything, even a simple haircut, comes with heart.